course, with me, Victor Muyakane and the great Linda Alela.
Yes. You're welcome. George is not with us today, but all the same, the show must continue. And largely, this show is about you, the people, the people's court. And we get to discuss conversations, or perhaps we get into conversations that are of importance to you and me. And of course, we are getting into this space where, again, another year where we discuss matters of climate change and basically global warming. Absolutely. This ahead of the COP29 session that will be happening in Abidjan, beginning the 11th of November, going all the way to the 24th, should be the 24th.
It's a very long time, lots of discussions,
big
issues affecting the continent. The question is, do those decisions made at that level affect you and I? How do you and I benefit from those huge conservation and climate change conversations and conferences? How are you benefiting from this?
We want to narrow it down to home.
Absolutely.
And we'll be having specialists, of course, stakeholders within the environmental sector, perhaps so that they can paint a picture of what the situation is like. Lots of complaint, the question of financing, the question of policies, all this all round is what we'll be getting into.
And solutions.
And solutions, that's the most important thing.
And examples of young people who are making money, making livelihoods and futures out of climate-smart activity. All that and so much more after the news. But first, the highlights.
Tonight, 8 teachers arrested for photocopying chemistry exam paper in Homa Bay.
All the phones for all the persons who are in that compound are going to be kept under lock and key.
As KCSE exams enter day 2. Also tonight, I am in trouble for being truthful.
Some of us have gotten into a lot of trouble because of being truthful.
Former DP Gachagua says, as GEMA elders now embrace DP Kithure Kindiki. Plus, the National Police Service raises concern over increased cases of femicide as women leaders call for immediate and swift action. And who stole baby Rehema Kerubo?
Nikauliza jamaa yako wapi? Hatimaye ameenda na mama mwingine amesema anaenda na mrudi.
A family in Nakuru seeking help after their 9-month-old child was allegedly stolen.
Folks, our coverage of today's news begins now. 8 people from Homa Bay County will remain in custody over the allegations of KCSE exam cheating.
Well, the 8 were arrested at Parliamentary Secondary School, that is for allegedly making copies of a chemistry paper.
The Ministry of Education has emphasized that exam malpractice will not be tolerated, urging exam supervisors to strictly adhere to the new regulations from the ministry.
Let's take a look at that.
Individuals suspected of orchestrating a daring attempt at exam fraud have been detained at the Homa Bay police station. Among the detained suspects are the exam center manager, supervisors, teachers and other officials from Parliamentary Secondary School. The 8 were arrested as they attempted to photocopy chemistry exam materials.
The photocopying, they did not enter the classroom. It was caught in time and exhibits have been taken. All the eight persons are in custody.
Homa Bay County Commissioner has confirmed that security measures have been tightened to prevent further incidents. The Ministry of Education has further emphasized that normal practice will be tolerated in the administration of this year's KCSE exam.
Rules are very, very simple. That this year, all the phones in every examination center, all the phones for all the persons who are in that compound are going to be kept under lock and key by the supervisor.
This even as some candidates have been left in uncertainty after their names were left out of the Kenyan National Examination Council register despite having registered. One such candidate is a student from Bungoma County with autism who was allegedly denied registration by the school administration.
Sikuambiwa kwamba hawezi andikishwa. Sijawahi ambiwa. Kwa sababu mimi niliwaeleza huyu mtoto ako na special need, special case. Hata hasemi, haongei, ako tu.
In a similar incident, 3 adult education candidates who were meant to sit their KCSE exam this year were treated to a rude shock after they found their names missing from the NEC register.
Nimekuwa shocked sana leo juu nimeenda kukalia exam, nimesomea mwaka mzima ya chemistry, nikapata niko wrongly registered for physics. Na imenirudisha nyuma sana because now I have kufanya kazi ya kutoka form 1 hadi form 4 ya physics in 2 weeks time.
Nilikuwa nimelipa everything. I have even this paper in yenye nililipia kwa NEC. Majina yangu ndio hayapi kwa NEC.
The KCSE exams are set to continue until November 22nd under heightened security and strict new regulations to deter cheating. Andrin Kilemi, TV 47.
Thank you, Andreen, for that. The Ministry of Health now seeks to reach out to all Kenyans, including those from the minority groups, to ensure that they are onboarded on the new health scheme, SHA.
Well, this is to facilitate the registration process, and the Social Health Authority has established a customer center to address any concerns while utilizing various channels to communicate with the public.
Elizabeth Atieno tells us more.
At the Bungoma County Referral Hospital, Maternity and Newborn Unit, patients in despair have flocked the facility. Although many have been treated, they still can't leave the hospital as their bills have not been cleared following a technical hitch in the SHA platform.
SHA waweze kuimprove kwa network kwa sababu nimekuwa discharged na bado sijatoka kwa ajili hawajamaliza hiyo process ya network inasumbua.
For instance, this newborn unit, which has a capacity of 20, now has over 80 newborns. Many have been detained as the parents could not clear the medical bills.
Mtoto alizaliwa kama miezi haijafika miezi 9, alizaliwa na miezi 7. SHA ikanisaidia wakapeleka mtoto nursery, anaendelea kutibiwa.
Young parents under the age of 18 have also raised issues that they cannot benefit from their maternal services package under SHA due to lack of identity cards.
SHA yataka kila mwananchi awe na ID card, lakini unapata kama upande wetu wa watoto, kuna wale watoto ambao wanazaa ama wanajifungua kabla hajafika miaka 18.
Evelyn Inyanji is one of those detained at the facility despite having undergone a successful leg surgery.
Nilikuwa admitted Bungoma Referral Hospital kwa ajili ya kufanyiwa operation juu ya mguu na nimeweza kushughulikiwa. SHA imeweza kunishughulikia kila kitu.
In a bid to address some of these existing challenges, the Ministry of Health now says that it is implementing means testing for households with an insurance premium being developed to support approximately 80% of families in need.
So far, we have been monitoring the individuals who've been using it. Waziri mentioned about 13,000 households or principal members who have actually registered. We've been monitoring the individuals who've been using it, and so far, the estimated premiums from this platform is about 543 shillings per household per month.
The Ministry of Health has added that it is enhancing sensitization on the new Social Health Authority through the community health promoters, while acknowledging that they dropped the ball on this important initiative.
We are calling on all Kenyans to turn to the CHP to assist on matters Social Health Authority registration, as they are available more so in the villages.
Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
All right, thank you, Liz, for that. And now we come to this worrying story where now members of parliament want a special parliamentary committee to be formed that is to address the worrying trend of femicide in the country.
This, of course, as the National Police Service expresses concerns, promising an urgent measure, or rather urgent measures to address the situation. Samira Mohammed reports.
With this report.
100 women later. In just a period of 3 months of a worrying increase of femicide cases in the country.
File
and implement.
Today, the issue of femicide was highlighted as an urgent crisis that demands immediate action.
A societal problem. It's a problem that we must deal with. We are in a crisis that we must admit. We cannot continue hiding our heads under the sun. We are in a crisis.
Tuesday, the State Department for Gender, in collaboration with civil society, non-government organization and rights groups, strongly condemned the increasing killing of women in the country. They further stated the rising cases of femicide witnessed in the country should trigger a robust response from all government apparatus to combat it.
It is not enough to give statements. What we want now is action taken. We want to see perpetrators brought into books, and we want to see a whole approach to this thing, because it's not about women, it's not about girls, it's not about leaders. It's a societal problem that we all need to come together and address it.
Condemning the murders, Deputy Inspector General of Police Eliud Lagat stated that the police are meticulously carrying out investigations to ensure the perpetrators of the heinous acts are brought to book.
Condemning the acts of femicide, and as we have agreed that this is purely murder, this is criminal cases that are not going to be acceptable in our society. The cases that are there right now are actively investigated, and some are in courts. And in the fullness of time, we will be able to put all these people in custody.
A section of leaders now wants femicide treated as a serious national security issue, noting the statistics on women being killed in the country is worrying.
Government eye is not everywhere. Even as we are saying, this issue of GBV and murders that are going on is actually a big problem in government, something that we need to work on, noting that matters criminal, matters health, femicide is actually a national security issue.
Samira Mohammed for TV 47.
Thank you, Samira, for that story. Now, to some bit of politics, and former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says that his troubles are as a result of being a truthful man.
Speaking in Kiambu County, Gachagua, however, called on his supporters to remain calm as he fights in the courts.
And this, as Mike Agungu details.
In what is now appearing as a way of standing with his Murema people, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was in Kiambu for the burial of Lucy Wambui. Gachagua claiming that his troubles were as a result of his truthful nature.
Some of us have gotten into a lot of trouble because of being truthful. But I want to tell you, even the Bible says, the truth shall set you free.
The DP is now saying that he is focusing on building his kingdom along the central region, a week after he was ousted from the corridors of power. In less than a week, the former DP has attended 2 funeral functions in Mount Kenya region, which ostensibly brought him closer to his followers as he attempts to clear his path towards his future political base. During his first public appearance since the swearing-in of his successor, Professor Kindiki in Kirinyaga County on Saturday, Gachagua, seemingly bothered with Parliament decision, called on the MPs to pass key bills with the same urgency that was applied during his impeachment.
Ile speed walitumia kunitoa, watumie hiyo speed kupitisha hiyo bila ya kahawa.
Gachagua's tactic is now seen as a form of wooing Mount Kenya region again, after a section of its residents supported his impeachment process. This as he awaits the Court of Appeal's hearing on his matter against the 3-judge bench Wednesday. Court of Appeal judges Patrick Kiage, Agri Muchelule and George Odunga directed the matter filed by Gachagua be heard virtually on November 6, 2024.
Bado inaendelea kusikizwa. Wakikutupa nje, bado utaenda appeal, Court of Appeal. Hiyo ni miaka ingine 3. Wakikutupa nje, bado utaenda Supreme Court. Hiyo ni miaka ingine 5. 2027 nitakupata hapo. Wewe utakuwa kwa bado tusidanganywe na mtu yote.
With his attendance in various funeral events, the former DP is seemingly consolidating his support along the region, in case his political future is cleared by the courts. Mike Kagwango, TV 47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Michael, for that. Tonight, the Gikuyu Meru Embu Association, GEMA, has welcomed the appointment of Professor Kithure Kindiki as Deputy President, saying he is capable of deputizing the President.
And of course, GEMA elders who opposed the impeachment of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua warned Kindiki not to fall into the trap of antagonizing his boss, President Ruto, like Gachagua.
And as Apollo Kamau reports, Kindiki faces the dilemma of uniting a restless Mount Kenya region after the Gachagua impeachment storm.
In what marked the first step to welcome Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki and calm the restive Mount Kenya region, GEMA elders have thrown their weight behind Kindiki while cautioning him to unite the country and avoid antagonizing his boss, President William Ruto, like his predecessor, Rigathi Gachagua.
We congratulate you, our new His Excellency, Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki, for being appointed our new Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. You have a lot of knowledge as a professor and as a lawyer. Don't forget what the verse 1 of our anthem says. I like it more in Kiswahili than in English. We sote tuungane pamoja.
The GEMA endorsement for Kindiki is seen as a first step to prepare the region for Kindiki leadership in the next 3 years, a political landmine for the no-nonsense, hard-working professor who has to unite the east and the west of the mountain, given Gachagua's acrimonious exit.
Please work together. There are no two presidents, it's only one President Ruto. That is the one who is our president. And so you too, you are going to be his assistant and help him, and we are sure things will work out well. Both you are Christians.
Kindiki's first test in the Mount Kenya region is to oversee the party elections slated early next year and rally back the region to the Kenya Kwanza fold ahead of the 2027 vote, given the misgivings the populous west of the mountain counties of Kiambu, Kirinyaga, Murang'a, Nyeri, Laikipia and Nyandarua hold against President Ruto.
The Mount Kenya vote, we are continuing to evoke a perception that there's a shift. I can tell you, if we go to elections today and the president is able to position his agenda on what he has done for the country and the various political formations and regions, I think the record will speak for itself, particularly at that time when we get to the 2027 elections.
Kindiki, who comes from the east of the mountain, Tharaka Nithi, Embu and Meru counties, is now the highest ranked leader to lead the region administratively. But politically, GEMA elders maintain former President Uhuru Kenyatta is still the region's spokesman. Kindiki's ascension to the throne comes at a time Gachagua is also trying to assert himself as the voice of the mountain, despite Uhuru's distance from the region's leadership tussles. Apul Kamau, TV47.
Ladies and gentlemen, the scars of the precarious climate change are still visible. Floods experienced in the months of April, March, and of course in May brought between 2022 and 2023. All this has been felt across the country. And despite the Meteorological Department allaying the fears of delayed expected short rainfalls between the months of October to December, well, the Kenya Red Cross has kicked off preparations in earnest in anticipation of more Kenyans to be affected by floods within the western region, with a forecast of above normal rainfall. Moige William paints the picture for us.
More households in the western region will be affected by the short rainfalls expected to pound different parts of the country in the coming days. The Kenya Red Cross, while flagging off a consignment of aid to 5 counties, has listed the counties of Kisumu, Busia and Homa Bay likely to be at the brunt of the extreme weather conditions.
With the rising lakes in those areas, we anticipate that a number of more population will be affected in this rain season. We have received commitment and support from the government of the UAE through the supporting organization of continuous support and presence to support any affected population.
The anticipation by the society comes barely months after the country witnessed a devastating flood situation where rains affected 45 out of the 47 counties in the months of March to May, which degenerated into a humanitarian crisis. The Red Cross reports 478 people lost their lives as a result. 238,763 households, being 1,432,578 people affected, with over 117,336 households, translating to 704,016 people displaced across the country. Tana River has the highest displacement and the highest numbers of camps.
Kisumu, Tana River, Garissa, and Homa Bay. As we speak, a large part of the consignment that is meant for distribution is already on the ground, ready for distribution.
Contrast to the anticipated flooding situation in the western part of the country, in the northeastern region, locals are bearing the brunt of drought. Water ponds and reservoirs in counties such as Garissa are reported to have dried up as from the month of August.
Mbuzi alikuwa alimalizika kwa kiangazi, hata ng'ombe amemalizika kwa kiangazi. Samani wakati ng'ombe inaenda chini, tunategemea kitu kama nyuki. Hata nyuki saa hii wako shida sababu mvua umepotea, wamekosa maua kula.
In anticipation of any eventualities occasioned by the adverse climate change that has adversely affected the global south, Kenya not an exception. The Kenya Red Cross Society has called for support in providing aid to affected families. Mwege William, TV 47.
And remember, that as well forms the basis of our conversation tonight. Absolutely. Because it's largely about the climate and what's happening locally, and the role of devolution as well as the different organizations and stakeholders in addressing this. So we'll be getting to that shortly. But away from it, detectives have arrested another suspect in the investigation into the murder of former Wells Fargo Human Resource Manager Willis Ayieko. The suspect, identified as Frederick Otieno Omondi, was apprehended in Kisumu and is suspected to have played a key role in Ayeko's abduction.
Omondi, who's a motorcycle rider, allegedly transported the main suspect, Victor Ouma, also known as Cisco, to the location where Ayieko was abducted and later killed.
And of course, Omondi told detectives that he transported Ouma to the scene and received about 9,000 shillings for his services.
The prime suspect, Victor Ouma Okoth, remains in police custody and has been directly linked to the crime.
Detectives are also continuing to follow several leads as they work to uncover the details surrounding Ayeko's murder.
Ronda Estate in Nakuru County is in distress, searching for their 9-month-old baby who was allegedly stolen by an unknown woman.
Rehema Kerubo is said to have been stolen while under the care of a minor who was lured by the unknown woman who is alleged to have enticed them with food and drinks.
Chichi Josephine reports from Nakuru.
Pain, distress and agony that this family from the slum of Ronda in Nakuru County is going through after their 9-month-old baby was allegedly stolen by an unknown woman. It is 1 week since baby Rehema Kerubo was stolen. Her 18-year-old mom, Maureen Gesare, and the first mom, still in anguish. Gesare narrates the unfolding events of the fateful day that her only daughter was taken away while at work, leaving the child under the care of her eldest sister, who sought assistance in carrying the baby from a minor who was in company of other minors.
Maya ako hapa, akaniambia ati Maya ameenda Freewood kukula. Mimi vile nikaa kidogo damu ikanikata, nikaanza nikauliza feo ameenda aje, tulipanda viju na mama mwingine. Mimi kupanda sikuwapata, lakini huko penye walienda kununua chipo ndio niliwapata watu wamekaa chini na leso ya mtoto na managu na chipo. Nikauliza jamaa yako wapi? Ati Maya ameenda na mama mwingine amesema anaenda na mrudi.
According to the report, the minors were lured by an unknown woman with chips and juice, where she later disappeared with the child.
Walitolewa skani, wakapanda huko juu, wakanunua tumbler, wakaekewa soda, wakakunywa. Wakauliza kwa watakula chipo, wakasema watakula chipo. Wakapanda hapa penye chipo inauzwa. Huyo mama akatuma wakubwa, akabaki na wadogo. Akaambia wadogo, endeni mwambie wakubwa waniletee chipo kuku. Wale wadogo wakaenda, kurudi wakapata mama yuko na mtoto.
CCTV footage from one of the supermarkets in the area shows a woman in company of minors getting into the supermarket where she is alleged to have bought tumblers to serve them juice before disappearing.
Nikasa kusunguka ile ya Weavers huko ndio niangalie mtoto mali alifanya nini, aliibiwa. Nikapata chama wengine wa pikipiki wakaniambia, mama, huyu mtoto mmoja ambao mnatafuta walikuwa na watoto, ndio kuna probox ilikuwa hapo juu, ndio imeweza kwenda na hiyo mtoto.
Holding her other grandchild, Lilian Mura, Rehema's grandmother, tearfully recalls her last moments with her, as she revealed that her baby Rehema was unwell at the time of her disappearance.
Mtoto hiyo siku aliamka 5 na hajaiamka, kakaanza kunililia twende na yeye. Nikauliza, Rehema, leo umeamka aje mapema? Leo unaniamkia aje mapema? Nikaacha mtoto kama analia, mimi nikafanya nini? Nikaondoka. Sasa hata kama ameenda, mtoto mwenyewe afya yake hakuwa nasikia vizuri. Na hata paka saa hii siwezi jua bila anaendelea paka saa hii wale. Sijui kama anaendelea aje saa hii.
Nakuru West DCIO Charles Kamau has told TV47 that investigations are still ongoing.
So far, we don't have any information.
Yes.
Yeah, we're trying to follow up.
Chichi, Josephine, TV47.
The Eldoret High Court has sentenced to 35 years in prison 2 Kenyans linked to the murder of Kenyan-born Ugandan athlete Benjamin Kiplagat.
The 2 men, despite damning CCTV evidence, maintained their innocence throughout the trial.
This is a story done by our colleague Ruga Ival. Take a look.
The emotional toll of losing a child was palpable at the Eldoret High Court as Elizabeth Chemweno, the mother of murdered athlete Benjamin Kiplagat, expressed her grief before Judge Ruben Nyakundi. Chemweno, visibly distraught, pleaded for a sentence that would reflect the profound pain of her loss. Her heartfelt cry came as the court sentenced 2 suspects, Peter Ushuru and David Ekai, to 35 years in prison for the athlete's murder, which occurred on December 31st, the year 2023. The case featured testimony from 9 witnesses, culminated in the conviction of the 2 suspects who were arrested earlier this year. Kiplagat's family has endured a lengthy and painful legal battle, repeatedly seeking justice for the brutal loss of their loved one.
Peter and David, I pass a sentence of 35 years custodial sentence.
During the proceedings, Chemweno recounted how her life had been irrevocably changed by her son's brutal murder. Despite her request for a harsher sentence, Justice Nyakundi emphasized that no punishment could bring back her son or alleviate her pain. The judge noted that while the convicts were first offenders, the evidence against them was overwhelming, including CCTV footage that captured their actions on the night of the murder. Benjamin Kiplagat was a prominent Ugandan long-distance runner who specialized in the 3,000-meter steeplechase. He gained recognition for his impressive performances in various international competitions, including the World Junior Championships and the Commonwealth Games. Ruga Ival, TV47.
A sentence of 35 years custodial sentence.
We have carried so many stories that are
heartbreaking,
you know. It's quite unfortunate, and we certainly hope that justice then is found for that family. Well, the attempt to resolve the 13.8 billion shillings paid dispute involving lecturers of public universities hit a deadlock once again as the Interpublic Universities Council's consultative forum failed to avail documents on the 4.3 billion shillings offered by government, that is for implementation of the return to work formula signed on the 26th of September.
OASU Secretary General Constantine Wesonga called on the government to adhere to the terms of the collective bargaining agreement signed then.
Well, this comes as the lecturers are on day 6 of their strike, demanding for salary increment. And of course, this meeting was adjourned to Tuesday next week with IPUCCF directed to avail all documents on the return to work formula.
The said unions were made aware that the available monies from the government for the CBA 2021-2025 was 4.3 billion Kenya shillings, and that the salary simulation needed to take this parameter into account.
Can we have the document that made them aware of the 4.3 billion? Otherwise, we'll also be participating in hearsay.
Yeah. Chair, so honorable members and chair, during the CBA negotiations, there are very many discussions that go on, verbal, and others are recorded.
We are requesting the government and IPCCF to strictly adhere to the terms and provisions of the return to work formula signed on 26th September 2024. This return to work formula was publicized in public. It was read to the members of the public.
The next one, read them.
The next one, the union wishes to show, we have shown how the CBAs have been implemented. And we are requesting that let us not deviate from how we have been implementing our CBAs by bringing in new parameters.
We want to take a short break. The two of us, of course, and our sign language interpreter, Kelvin Makori, will be right back after these messages. Welcome back, folks. If you're joining us right now, this is the People's Court. But first, we do the daily report where we take you around our country and our world and tell you what is happening.
Later on, we'll be getting to a very important conversation on matters climate and just how we are adapting at that local level. But before then, some more news. And President William Ruto says that the new university funding model has rescued many universities that were at the verge of collapsing.
The president spoke during the awarding of charters to the National Intelligence and Research University and the Islamic University of Kenya at State House, Nairobi.
This is George Maringa, details.
Is the document against which we shall go.
Speaking when he awarded charters to the National Intelligence and Research University and the Islamic University of Kenya, President William Ruto now says the new university funding model has rescued many universities that were at the verge of collapsing.
Our new student-centered university model has also liberated many universities that were at the brink of bankruptcy. Many universities could not pay their lecturers. They could not pay for the courses. And it was beginning to compromise our education.
The government says that the model that received mixed reactions is meant to account for, among other things, the costs of postgraduate courses that the previous system did not account for, as well as effectiveness. The government has already been challenged in court over the model, but insists that the challenges under the old model prompted the creation of the new system.
I'm very happy that the new university model, and I have talked to vice chancellors across board, they today confirm that the new funding model has made a difference in making sure that our universities have the ability to train.
Meanwhile, Kenya has officially added 2 more universities under her belt following the awarding of charters to the National Intelligence and Research University and the Islamic University of Kenya.
In an era where security threats have become increasingly complex, NIRO's focus on intelligence and security studies equips our intelligence officers with the skills and expertise necessary to confront challenges such as cybercrime.
We are equally grateful to the Commission for University Education for your guidance and oversight, ensuring that we uphold the highest academic standards throughout our journey to this significant milestone.
Indeed, Your Excellency, we are privileged that you have bestowed upon us this honor. This charter is not only a testament to your commitment to the education of our intelligence professional and community, but also a promise to securing our nation's future.
While the government appreciates the efforts to expand public universities' infrastructure and facilities, President Ruto pointed out there is a need to ensure quality is not compromised and that graduates are well trained with skills to benefit the country.
The importance of high standards in training our security sector professionals cannot be overstated. We expect the National Intelligence and Research University to play a crucial role in equipping our intelligence officers and professionals to safeguard the nation.
I am persuaded that these 2 institutions will support the quest for the government which you lead to continue ensuring that our education system remains accessible, affordable, relevant, and of high quality.
The National Intelligence Research University will not only serve as a center for learning, but also as a hub for research and innovation that will enable Kenya to remain a leader in regional and global security agenda. On the Islamic University of Kenya, President Ruto said it will shoulder the additional burden of serving as a beacon of solidarity, cohesion and peaceful coexistence in a world often divided by race, ethnicity and religion. George Maringa, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, George, for that.
Yeah.
Another
now,
one.
Interesting news.
You know?
Apparently, you and I will be responsible for the end disposal of any garbage collected from your home.
And a new move meant to manage the growing garbage menace in the country. Of course, the Environment Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale has said that the government gazette the color-coded garbage bins in public spaces, which will be actualized this week.
This is, of course, as the government moves in on clamping down on poorly disposed of industrial and household garbage.
Take a look.
Carrying garbage, and the garbage is falling on the highway. That is unacceptable. I mean, somebody somewhere is not doing his work. So we are going, this week I'm going to, I don't know why you are keeping it. This week I need to gazette the color coded in terms of waste. So that when you walk to any particular public place, like a mall, you must have all the bins. The one for the waste, for the dry waste, for the wet waste, the one that can be recycled. And soon, NEMA must tell us when a private garbage collector collects garbage from your house, he must tell us where he's going to dump that garbage.
Key problems we have in Kenya is that there's an inverse relationship between the population growth and our agriculture productivity, isn't it? Our agriculture productivity is going down while we need to feed more people. So this is a core issue that we have to address.
Yes.
Here's another one on the climate as well as the environment. And the climate change has posed a major loss and damage in the country, of course, wide in the past few months. The government, in collaboration with key climate change practitioners and organizations, held a conference in Nairobi County to reflect on the outcomes of the Africa Climate Summit.
Youth and children were involved in order to discuss climate adaptation and resilience, and in order to assess the results of the Nairobi Climate Change Declaration.
In a bid to curb the massive damage that climate change has caused countrywide, the government, in collaboration with climate change practitioners and organizations, are evaluating the Nairobi's declaration outcomes on climate change.
We are gathered here today at the ACS at 1 convening to evaluate on the progress of ACS at 1, specifically on the Nairobi Declaration that was adopted by African leaders last year at the ACS convening.
This meeting, that is part of the Africa Climate Summit at 1, has offered the youths and children a platform to voice their ideas and come up with recommendations that will be taken up by the government to address climate change issues.
What we have out of these convenings are recommendations and support, and also contributing and offering support to be able to amplify what is happening. So it's really recommendations that can then be implemented by the Secretariat.
As these youths shared their knowledge and ideas on climate change adaptation and resilience, they are hoping that their ideas will be put into implementation.
We are also calling on our government to accelerate climate finance for young people, to accelerate these projects and the implementable solutions that can deliver into proactive solutions.
However, the children present urged the environment conservationists to always involve them in making policies, since they are equally important.
So if children are included in decision making along with the generation ahead of them, if they come together and work together, we'll have a green and clean future with less or no pollution.
The increasing heat, drought, and the heavy downfall causing floods in the country, the government is open to ideas on climate change to curb these matters. Anastasia Mukabi, TV 47.
Now, all passengers entering Kenya from January 2025 will be required to declare and register their phone IMEI number in a new move meant to enhance compliance to the taxman.
Well, Kenya Revenue Authority is insisting on the need to curb illegal mobile phone trade, as Hibak Said details.
The admission to push forward with IMEI number registrations at entry points by the Kenya Revenue Authority sparked debate at a Senate committee meeting.
Here that the KRA, together with the CA and other operators like Safaricom, you are in the process of now linking your systems to our phones.
The issue of digital tax levy is now becoming a new area where people now are earning remotely. You know, the people who write and others are content creation they are being paid through Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and among others. Is it tied up with this digital tax levy?
Concerns on data safety were raised, as KRA Commissioner General Humphrey Watanga affirmed that indeed the taxman would snoop into private mobile devices to deduce any errant tax that had not been netted into the national revenue. The noose would be extended to foreigners staying for a period longer than 3 months.
This is purely for purposes of ensuring that we have that devices that are in this country are customed, or the customs has been paid. The public notice was principally out today. It's mainly targeted at importers and manufacturers. Yes, there's a passenger component to it, but there's going to be a follow-up communication and info pack that speaks to the frequently asked questions.
To this, senators expressed fear of scaring off tourists and potential investors, arguing that it would cost the country precious foreign exchange. Kerry further revealed the country is losing up to hundreds of millions in potential revenue due to the slow adaptation into the digital realm.
I think the question around tourists, and I think as you see that info pack, you'll see that there's a grace period, almost a 90-day grace period for all passengers coming into the country, so it will not impact on tourists.
Information that the KRA would be privy to if they got the go-ahead to rummage through personal mobile devices, data breach and safety concern notwithstanding. The date has now been set to January for the initiative to be actioned, as KRA continues to sweep its tentacles over any and everything taxable. Hibak Said for TV47.
All right, thank you, Hibak, for that. Now, the Kenya Association of Stockbrokers and Investment Banks and Cape Media have signed an MOU aimed at disseminating crucial capital markets information to better inform young investors.
KCSE CEO Willis Ayieko says that less than 10% of the youthful Gen Z demographic own shares of publicly listed companies. And the trend is averting businesses from seeking finances through the capital markets as opposed to commercial loans.
Gen Z in our time. So you can rest assured that whatever we shall do together shall have the peace of the country at heart.
Yes, no exchange.
Okay. And then I give you this one. All right. So, thank you very much.
I'm good, yes.
And then I give you this one. Okay, then I give you this.
Our desire moving forward is for us to have this as a regular engagement, an engagement that, because there's a lot of information that can be taught to the public regarding capital markets, regarding stock markets, regarding financial markets generally. What we want to do is to demystify the capital markets.
The future is business, and business, you need capital markets. As you said about the challenges that are in Africa, the biggest challenge is financial literacy, or illiteracy, so to speak. So people only go to borrow money from banks, but they also don't know the other avenues that you can use to make money or to get money to invest. And that is why we find that in the West, places where the financial literacy is high, they are able to generate and create money, create wealth in many ways.
Annual Changamka Festival has officially kicked off alongside the Kenya Industrialization Expo.
The Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary has vowed to make changes for the ailing sector, stating that the government is not picking on all policies governing the sector in a fresh approach of centering industries in lawmaking.
Now, the annual exhibition is set to commence, or perhaps has begun, and gathers around all manufacturers on board.
That this initiative has really anchored the manufacturers and the products of our country, and I'm sure as we move forward, this is going to be very useful in making sure that we use this event to strategically position Kenya within the continent as a very strategic investment destination.
Our appreciation, of course, goes to the ministry for their continued support towards this initiative and this program. I believe in the coming years, we'll even make Changamka Festival more vibrant and more inclusive.
Now to shift gears away from money matters.
We get sporty.
Let's get sporty.
The great Chepsaita cross-country run has positively impacted the people of Chepsaita in Tarbo constituency, Uasin Gishu County.
Of course, this is a competition that is able to present numerous opportunities to runners of all ages, among them the elderly, and of course, TV47's Tony Kwalanda and Joseph Kabudhi visited this area and spoke to one person, Benedicta Kosgei, an elderly person, to find out how her reward of a cow that she got from the last year's run was able to inspire her to get into running.
Let's get to see that.
Welcome to the home of Benedicta Kosgei. We found her feeding her treasured asset, which she won during the Great Chepsaita cross-country run in December 2023. The elderly Kosgei secured a podium finish in the seniors category during the inaugural competition, and this cash cow makes her look forward to the next day. She supplies milk to the nearby Chepsaita Secondary School, producing at least 20 liters daily.
Ule unaona ng'ombe ni kubwa, ni mzuri kabisa. Ananilisha kabisa, akizaa ndio mimi nafurahi kabisa. Anachunga poma, anachunga shule, nakamua inaenda shule. Pata pesa ya sabuni, sukari, amenisaidia sana.
Her business partnership with the institution has offloaded the school fees weight off her shoulders. Her family's domestic needs are also catered for thanks to the prize she received after clinching third position last year.
Nitaambia hii watu wetu wa Kenya, jaribu mkujeni twende sisi wote pamoja ili tusaidiane, tukimbie watoto wetu wapunguzwe na gharama na tena tutibiwe wakina shosho ili apate wapone.
Kosgei is preparing for this year's race. She trains daily between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m.
Kwa umri yao wanasaidia kwa sababu wameenda chini sana, lakini wakipata hiyo zawadi wanapata nafuu kidogo kwa maisha yao.
Those above the age of 46 years will have a chance to win a life-changing prize besides securing scholarships for needy children.
Athletics Kenya wametambua sehemu hii kuwa
sehemu nguzo sana kwa mambo na kukimbia.
Niko na wamama 1,200 ambayo tunakutana kila siku kupanga kwa ajili ya tarehe 7.
Over 10,000 local and international runners are expected to descend in the home of champions to race in different categories, which includes over 70 years old, over 56 years, over 46 years, elite, teenagers and children. Tony Kwalanda, TV47 Sports.
Now, with 32 days to the Football Kenya Federation elections to be held on the 7th of December, Sports CS Kipchumba Murkomen has painted a grim picture on the eligibility of presidential aspirant Doris Petra, who is running alongside Nick Mwendwa, the current FKF president.
And of course, Petra, who is the current FKF vice president, is as well seeking to be the national football boss, deputized by the current Supremo, that is Nick Mwendwa, whose candidature has elicited mixed reactions while addressing the national questions, that is on the upcoming FKF elections. Murkomen insisted on the observance of the Sports Act and regulations of the registrar, that is of sports, during the exercise.
But now, if we didn't want term limits, it was easier to say you can run for FKF elections up to the time you lose elections. But as a country, once we put in place in the Sports Act that we are going to have a term limit, and therefore we are governed by rules, because there are other countries where they have FKF elections but they don't have a term limit. But for as long as we said we will be having term limits, it is not possible. It's not even neat. It's not even nice. It's not even morally good to find yourself in a place of being a president and then tomorrow a vice president. I think it's just black and white. We should not have elections at all costs. Yeah, we should not say Bora elections. We should say elections Bora. So, in the sense that we hope through the U chair and the members who will be coming before you, the FKF elections board, you can put them to task to make sure that they are in keeping with the law and they help us to get good elections. And the role of the registrar is to make sure that they bring up to speed the organizations when they're preparing for elections, and to make sure that all the parties are given the avenue to understand what is the law and what's expected of them. The cabinet secretary and the ministry, including the registrar, should not be the ones who are running the elections itself. Otherwise, we will lose our credibility and the independence of the institution. But it is for us to either get complaints or confirmations from participants or people of Kenya to find out whether the law is being complied.
All right, and we'll be looking forward to see how that pans out. So this next story got me learning something new about Muyakane. Do you any boxer?
Boxing.
Because he kept on doing this, so I'm like, probably this is his game. Now let's cross over to Westlands in Nairobi City, where the 2024 Nairobi Fight Night Boxing Championship is underway.
Our reporter Alan Zuki is on standby to tell us more about the main bout, which has a Kenyan and Tanzanian lineup.
See the excitement.
Absolutely, I'm excited. I want to see the punches flying, and I want to see our opponent humbled.
Over to you, Alan.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see from your screens, we are here at the Alchemist. Remember, this is already the third fight of the night, and we are currently having Victor Koyo and Alfayo CEO battle it out in the third fight. Remember, very important to note, Alfayo CEO, this is the third season. This is his rookie season. I beg your pardon on that. This is his rookie season, and he's already fighting here in the big stage of the Nairobi Night Fight Club of the November edition. And remember, already we have had 3 fights already. And just to quickly take you through the results of the first fight. In the first fight, we were able to see another debutant David Ochieng win his first fight over Justus Ndegwa through anonymous decision. And the funny thing is that David Ochieng was knocked out, but still woke up and continued with the fight and went on to win the match. And we are here already, as I said earlier, in the third match between Victor Konyo and Alfayo Sio. It's going down here at the Alchemist Bar here in Nairobi in Westlands. And this is the third fight. And in the second fight, we were able to see the flyweight category, where we saw Abdi Bashir from the red corner triumph over Hussein Cheriot in the blue corner. That was the second fight. And remember, we still have the main event of the night, which is about to go down. Once again, it is Kenya versus Tanzania. And you know how it goes. It's Dennis Okoth versus Jalal Mohammed for the main event of the night here in the Nairobi Night Fight Club here in Alchemist. And remember, we're going to keep you updated at TV47